I've often thought, wouldn't it be nice if when we're born, we came with an instruction manual on how to do this thing called life? I mean, I could even get my head around an IKEA-like version with only vague pictures and a parts list, but something, anything to give us the guidance on what to stick where and how it's all supposed to function, with ample safety warnings as we plummet ahead living our best life on this blue-green space ball hurtling through the universe. And I think I'm not alone in my desire for direction. Humans, since the dawn of time, have always been trying to figure out how to dig into this thing called life and navigate its fjords and fairways. That quest to understand is a sponsoring thought behind religions and spiritual practices of all shapes and sizes. Different ways of believing were birthed because someone figured out something they thought was a pretty neat idea. Then they told everyone they should do exactly the same thing and their life would be pretty neat too. Many a collective sigh went out from people knowing they finally had the answer to life, the universe, everything. But then someone, usually in the back, raised their hand with a question that the architects of that faith didn't think of. Usually it was easier to stone them or burn them at the stake than actually think more about their questions and figure out the answers. Besides, public executions did a marvelous job of getting others to stop asking more questions. But the questions continued. In fact, you're here because you have questions and you are seeking answers. Well, I have great news for you. Instead of stoning you, I'm going to help you find the answers to some of your questions for yourself. The signs are all around you. The minute you took your first breath, source energy, of which you're a part, began to guide you along your path. However, when the universe guides us, it doesn't give us directions like Google Maps. Instead, it speaks to us through feelings, impressions, and metaphors. Now, if source energy knows your happiness lies on Oak Street, which is a couple blocks away, you won't get go down Main Street, take a left on Elm Street, and a right on Oak Street. You're going to find what your soul is looking for waiting at that coffee shop at the end of the block on your left. Instead, you might be inspired by the way the light is playing with that tree over there. Then, perhaps, you notice a friend you haven't seen for ages, down there on the left, walking out of that new boutique you've heard so much about, and you run over to her to say hi. After a brief conversation, you both notice there's a musician busking just down that street on the right, and how odd. It's one of the songs you two played endlessly on repeat when you were younger, so you both decide to go over and listen to him sing. When he finishes, you both realize you have some time, and a scone and a latte sound amazing. There's this fabulous local coffee shop just over there on the left. As you walk in, you bump into someone, and they spill their coffee all over their shirt. While mopping up the spill, and you're apologizing profusely, you catch something familiar in their eyes. Looking back, you realize you've gone down Main Street, taken a left on Elm Street, and a right on Oak Street, and you're in the coffee shop down the block on the left, talking to someone, and there are sparks flying. The guidance is subtle by design. When we agreed to play a character in this version of life, we agreed to certain rules. We're here to expand our consciousness. The hour in that sentence is all that is, or the great I am, source energy, of which we're all a part. When we agreed to play a character in this version of our life, we agreed to those rules. You are source energy, in a unique expression of yourself. You are energy and vibration, therefore what you create is energy and vibration. You are playing the cosmic game of expansion and understanding with yourself, as you encounter you in a variety of forms and characters which you've cast. As such, you, are creating your experiences of this plane as you go along, forging new thoughts, new ideas, taking creation where it's never been before. But you're not doing this alone. Your angels and guides, another manifestation of you, by the way, are with you and speaking to you as you walk through this experience you've created. Sometimes it's a feeling or a thought. Sometimes it's what we call coincidence, but make no mistake, you are guiding you as you go along. Like a super secret decoder ring. Once you have the code, decoding life becomes easy. Well, easy may be a stretch. But why so secret? Since we're part of all that is, what is the secrecy and mystery about? Better yet, why is there pain and suffering? If I am part of the great I am, I would never allow so much misery and heartache. Never! Oh, down, Shiva. Breathe for a second. Can I continue? Where's the fun in settling down to read the newest whodunit novel and immediately flipping to the last chapter to find out who it is that did the dunning before you're even introduced to the list of characters. There's no fun in opening a new crossword puzzle book to find all the answers already filled in. The joy in both of those experiences is in the exploration, the doing, the journey. It's the same with life. We signed up to be a participant in the unfolding of creation, and by choosing not to remember who and what we are, we get to write this story as we go along with the plot twists and turns that keep us surprised and engaged. We're free to write whatever we want. We're free to color outside the lines if that's what we choose. We did come here with a rough idea of what we wanted to accomplish in this incarnation. That's where the guidance comes in. Source energy already knows all of your needs, but just giving you everything you want, having no ups and downs in life, has as much fun as opening a new puzzle and discovering that the puzzle's already put together in the box. You have free will to fuck around and find out. But you're not alone in this fuckery. Coincidences, those gut reactions, those feelings you get are how source energy communicates to you, showing you what you might want to pay attention to. They're subtle, for sure. They're subtle because they're meant to inspire you to action, not dictate your actions. The one thing you cannot give up in this life is your free will. If the signs were louder or more aggressive, they'd force you to a certain way, thus robbing you of your free will, which, as we discussed at the beginning of this chapter, is what some spiritual journeys do. Think about the power of advertising. Its loud, repetitive messages are designed to manipulate you into changing your behaviors and buy whatever they're hawking. This is the preview of the three-dimensional world, not source. Source energy shouting directions at you would ruin the grand adventure. It would rob you of your free will, which defeats the purpose of allowing you to fuck around and find out. But leaving you completely guideless would be a waste of time, so you have guidance in the form of your feelings, your gut instincts, and the things that just seem to happen. What's that Einstein said? Coincidence is God's way of remaining anonymous. Training yourself to understand the signs that are always around you, you can learn to navigate this thing called life. And that's the real work. The first step is to understand when a sign is given to you. The second thing to understand is to thank the universe for that sign. And the third thing to do is to act on that information in your life. It's really that simple. But it isn't really easy. Learning to recognize the signs takes time. You grow your confidence in understanding them by acknowledging them when they come. A simple, thank you, universe, when they happen, well, that's enough. The more you recognize them, the more you'll get. Now, not because the signs are being rationed out, but because, like honing a skill, the more you learn to recognize them, the more you'll see they're always there. The universe is always conspiring for your well-being. Well, the universe is always conspiring for its own well-being because it knows you are a part of it. As you grow in your recognition of the signs, you'll realize the signs are all around you. Now, it's up to you to learn to recognize them. But remember this, the signs are your signs and only your signs. Each person has their own guidance system based upon the path they're called to walk. While there may be similarity in signs and guidance, yours is just yours. Lest you think you have a pretty neat idea and that everyone should do exactly the same thing with their life, and that'll be pretty neat too, well, that road leads to the pyre.